We are here and we are strong. Let's be counted as we move on. Make a difference, change lives as we tell our different stories. We are capable, beautiful. We are born to do great things. We're unstoppable, incredible, 'cause we're differently abled, differently.
Hello there and a warm welcome on Able Differently. In our day-to-day life, there are things we take for granted and yet they influence our lives in ways we cannot comprehend.
On today's show, we focus on some individuals who with time have learned to appreciate everything in their life. I'm Audrey Chibole.
And I'm Jane Theuri.
Welcome.
'Cause we're differently abled, differently.
Solomon Kasule found a home at Dagoretti Children's Center when his mother left him at Kenyatta National Hospital. When he became conscious of the world around him, he decided to live his life on his own terms. Take a look.
Solomon Kasule was born at Kenyatta National Hospital. As soon as his mother realized that he had no hands, she left him with a note of his name and that of his mother.
I was born without both hands. After my mother realized that I don't have hands, he dumped me in Kenyatta National Hospital, whereby she left me there. After 1 year, I was transferred to the Dagoretti Children's Center. That's where my life started.
His new home became Dagoretti Children's Home. It was here at the home that Solomon met some Europeans who taught him how to use his legs, and he was very quick to learn. This prepared him for his education.
After joining Dagoretti as a kid of 1 year old, I started my career level of education, whereby one of the European, whom he did not have hands, he assisted me to use my both legs. So unfortunately, I managed. And then I started my school level, nursery to primary, whereby I completed my class 8 KCPE. So after that, I joined the Joyland Special School, people with disability, in Kisumu. I did my Form 1 to Form 4 level. So after completing my course in education, I came back to Nairobi under the institution. So they gave me an opportunity to learn for my career.
Fine arts has been his passion, and it is for this reason he was enrolled at Creative Arts Center, where he pursued art as a course.
I joined the Creative Arts Center, which is in Gong Road. So I went there for 3 years. So I have a diploma in fine art.
After getting his education, Dagoretti Children's Home had to release him as he had come of age. This was to enable him join the community and use his skills to earn a living.
As I was under institution, we came to me, one of his son normally works there at Dagoretti Children's Center. So we were good friends with him. So fortunately, he invited me to his place. And I welcomed well, and I came. So after going back, now the young man talked with his parents, and he gave them my history. After a while, the Mzee invited me after getting my information that I'm in the community, and due the hardship of life which was going on, so he told me to come and join them in their place, in their home. So after a while, first I started with a small house here, whereby we built a house, And then we were closely friends now. Now they pick me as one of their child. After 6 months, now the Mzee told me that where you normally stay, I want to now to occupy a bigger house, whereby he showed me here, and I built this house.
Solomon lived well with his new family since they considered him their own. The man of the house died and things took a different turn.
The Mzee passed on. So unfortunately, after Mzee passed on 1 year ago, there was a conflict now for me to vacate in this place. And there were big issues whereby even threats were there.
Upon seeking advice, Solomon was advised not to hold on, rather prepare himself and leave. It is for this reason that he has planned for an Harambe, which will be on 7th of April, as he seeks funds to get him a land of his own.
I tried to communicate with the chief area, and he told me now they are the owner of the property. So now the best thing you could do now, don't refuse to go if they tell you. So if they tell you to go now, you pack and go. So I came and we talked with them, and they gave me a period of 2 years. 1 year is down the line, and now we are in second year, and I'm not yet employed. So it's a challenge for me to move this house to where I'm supposed to take it. Luckily, before Mzee passed on, God blessed with some cash, where I bought a small land, and which I cost around 350,000, but I gave out 250,000. I had a balance of 100,000. So due the period which I was given by the owners of this place, I didn't have any money to complete the road. So that's why we sat with one of my friends, and we agreed that to make a fundraising, which will assist me to complete the land and to demolish this house and put it there.
Solomon is a family man. He has 2 girls. This is where he draws his motivation from.
What motivates me, it is my 2 children. They give me a chance, and they appreciate me the way I am as their father. They doesn't scared, but now they appreciate me the way I am, and what they want from me, I do normally do as my level best.
Having gone through the hardships in life, Solomon wishes to encourage those who are able differently to press on.
The life is big, but also what you are supposed to do is to accept and continue with your life and pursue your dreams to make your life go on.
Let's take a short break and we'll be right back with more, so don't go too far.
'Cause we're differently abled, differently. 'Cause we're differently abled, differently.
Welcome back. Kat Fenley is an Australian Paralympian who has bagged lots of gold medals. He was here in Kenya and our team had an exclusive interview with him. Take a look.
Kat Finley is an Australian wheelchair racer, and we caught up with him at the Reuben Centre while on his visit to Kenya.
I'm an Australian Paralympian. I was born with lumbar sacrogenesis, which means that I'm missing a part of my spine.
At the age of 12, Kat realized that he was different from others.
I probably realised when I started to go to high school, so I was probably 12, 13 years old. I had always just crawled around with my brothers and sisters through paddocks and through the country of Australia. There wasn't a lot of opportunity to use the wheelchairs, so crawling was just my mode of transport. And I just saw that there was no shame in it, there was no difference in it, so I just got to places a little bit slower.
The last born in a family of 5, despite the protection that surrounded him, he still experienced challenges.
The challenges is that you get to see all of your friends and family. They grow bigger and taller and run faster, and you need to become comfortable with who you are. And it's going to be a different life to the people around you, but it's a beautiful life. It's a sometimes challenging life, but it's you, and it's about looking at yourself and being proud of that person and loving that person and finding comfort in that person.
His parents felt that a regular school was appropriate for him, and it was that decision that shaped him.
I grew up being in a mainstream school, so inclusion into a school with my next door neighbours and my friends and my family from the same area. So I got to learn about relationships very quickly, that I was equal to my able-bodied peers, that those relationships were able to be built through going to a standard school, a standard public school, not being segregated, not being held aside.
When Jackie Finley gave birth to her 5th-born son, she was just as surprised as the doctors.
For the first month, we didn't know whether he was going to live. And it was a great relief to know that he would have a normal lifespan if he was well taken care of. The feelings that I had were very overwhelmed, very sad for the death of a healthy child. Yeah, that's what it felt like. I was grieving for some time, I think. And then I started reading everything I could about disabilities and got books from doctors everywhere trying to find out why I was feeling like this, because it appeared like I had a normal baby.
Luckily, she had a strong support system while she was raising Kat.
My husband was very supportive. We both, at the very beginning, my husband blamed himself. I blamed myself. We both felt our own, I suppose, a little bit of guilt that this has come about for some reason, but it doesn't. It hasn't been any guilt on either side of any of the family. He did what he could with Kurt and for Kurt, as I did. Yeah, I was very lucky. I don't know how I would have gone on my own.
As a mother, showing her son how much she loved him was more than enough to help him face any situation in life.
My husband and I and the other children all went about making things happen as easily for him as they could be. And living in the countryside, it's not that easy, but he was quite happy crawling around the paddock and doing everything that he could do physically. If he wanted to do it, he found a way to do it. So you can't say no to that. I'll let them get out and do it.
Kat's success story is one that is full of hope, and he shared with us his achievements.
I started in Sydney in 2000 at the Paralympic Games. I won 2 silver medals there. But I knew that's where I knew I was quite strong, that I knew I could get quite fast. And then in Athens, I became the fastest man in the world. I won gold medals in 2 events, in the 5,000 metres and the marathon. And that's where I just knew I needed to continue in the sport. And I feel grateful that I spent 20 years racing wheelchairs and travelling the world.
Jackie is one proud mother to a son that has been the reason why she has travelled far and wide across the world.
Just very proud, yeah. I think I always knew he was going to do these things. Yeah, just always knew that he was going to do the things that he wanted to do and do the things he needed to do.
Kat met his wife while at the university, and together they are parents to 2 lovely girls.
And met my wife, who would become my wife, at university. She's able-bodied. She was studying journalism and studying to be a part of the media, while I was studying to be a teacher.
Kat appealed to parents with able differently children to accept them and not hide them.
I believe that every child deserves education. Every child deserves to be told that they are valued by people, that they deserve the time with me, they deserve the time with their teacher, they deserve the time to be spent as an equal within their peers. And so I enjoy coming over here and speaking about that, and I get to take home that kindness as well, the open and kind and loving way that the community that they treat me, and it's a really enjoyable experience every time. Yeah.
His mother Jackie also emphasized the need to give such children an opportunity to live normal lives.
You love your children. Everyone loves their children. You just love them and love them and love them, and just continue to help them do what they're able to do in their way.
Finally, she was encouraged and proud of the African women who raised these children single-handedly.
I admire every woman in Kenya that is doing it on their own. I think they're very strong individual women, and I admire them all. I certainly had all the support I could possibly get, and I dragged it in from anywhere else that I could get. But accept any help you can get and look for more help if you can.
'Cause we're differently abled, differently.
Saki had an experience which almost cost her her sense of sight. Using this experience as a benchmark, she came up with an automated walking stick. Take a look at her story.
A few years back, Saki Freshia almost lost vision due to an illness she suffered from. But luckily, she survived the ordeal after she sought treatment.
In December of 2013, I was a Form 2 student, and I woke up one morning and I couldn't see with my left eye. I'd completely lost vision on my left eye. So I went to hospital and I was diagnosed with retinal detachment. And I remember my doctor telling me I needed surgery urgently. Like if I didn't have surgery as soon as possible, I would have lost vision on my left eye permanently. And there was also the possibility of losing vision completely.
Fear of the unknown and experience being the best teacher pushed her towards innovation of an automated stick for the visually impaired, a project she began to work on as a result of a technology expo at her school.
Walking buddy is an idea that I'd been toying around with for a while, but I actually started working on it after we had the call for projects for Tech Expo. That was like a month to Tech Expo, so I worked on it for around a month, and then that's when I showcased it at Tech Expo.
The stick, also known as Walking Buddy, comes with a variety of features.
Walking Buddy is a stick that comes with several features. First, it's obstacle detection. It can detect different kinds of obstacles, and when it detects them, you will get a vibration warning, and then it will give you an audio feedback telling you the distance to the obstacle and the kind of obstacle it is. Maybe is it a direct obstacle or an overhead obstacle? The other thing is navigation. You can tell the stick where you want to go via audio input, and then it will give you audio output, giving you turn-to-turn directions of where you want to go. The other thing is the SOS feature. SOS feature is where with the press of a button on the stick, you can contact up to 3 emergency contacts that you already pre-saved. So your location will be automatically sent to them, and then a call will be initialized to your first emergency contact. That way they can know where to find you and that you're in need of help. And the other thing is that you can pre-save locations. If you frequently visit some certain locations, let's say you're a student here in JKUAT, or maybe you just work somewhere, you're constantly either between your home or your workplace or the buildings where you have classes. That way, instead of every time you're giving audio input to where you want to go, you can easily scroll through your 4 pre-saved locations, and then when you select, just using the stick, you'll get audio directions on how to get there real-time, turn-to-turn.
This being a self-sponsored project, Saki has had to deal with a few hurdles here and there.
I remember this time a few minutes to presentation. You know, we had shortlisting for the expo. So a few minutes to some shortlisting where I was supposed to display my project. I remember everything stopped working, just everything. And the day before, it was all working perfectly. So I had to troubleshoot for hours and hours under a lot of pressure, time pressure. But yeah, eventually I got the problem and I showcased on time. I think those were the major problems, mainly technical problems. Yeah.
But is grateful for the support she receives from her family.
My parents have always encouraged me to pursue whatever I want to, and they noticed my passion is in engineering from a long time back, and they never held me back. They always supported me to pursue whatever I want. My brothers have also been very supportive. I get a lot of advice from them. And even the financial aspect, I mean, this project is self-sponsored, so my family supported me financially as well.
With the different inventions and innovations around the world, Saki has a few people she looks up to.
Nikola Tesla, Steve Wozniak, Albert Einstein, Alan Turing. Yeah, a lot of these people have made great changes in their fields. They have this different way of thinking, this innovative way. Their minds work in a very incredible manner, and I look up to them.
Her take in relation to technology is that more can be done to help people with disabilities.
I think a lot can still be done. I mean, the reason I pursued this innovation is because I think right now we are in 2019. There's a lot being done technologically, but still, if you look at a blind person, they're still using the same ordinary walking stick. I mean, in this age of technology, a lot can be done to automate and improve the devices they use or the tech they use. So yeah, I still think a lot can be done in terms of technology for people who are living with disabilities.
Her desire is to work closely with the blind and get more funding for her project.
I want to maybe add more features to the project, or I also want to collect data, work with visually impaired people, and get that way I can understand their needs more, because they're the ones to use it. And for that, I'd need to maybe get more funding or partner with organizations so that I can get access to all this data from them. And yeah, I think moving forward, I would require funding for refining the prototype, making a final prototype, and maybe moving into production.
In conclusion, Saki's word of advice to the society is,
I feel people should pursue what they love, what they're most passionate about, rather than maybe chasing money or because society expects them to do this or that, or maybe their parents are pushing them towards something. I think everyone should pursue what they're very passionate about, what they think will give them the most fulfillment, and how they can give back to society. That way you find a lot of fulfillment in career, and then everything you do is enjoyable.
'Cause we're differently abled, differently.
Let's take a look at the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability.
Article 6 of the UN Convention states that state parties recognize that women and girls with disabilities are subject to multiple discrimination, and in this regard shall take measures to ensure the full and equal enjoyment by them of all human rights and fundamental freedoms.
In the quote of the day, we look at the saying that goes, if you take things for granted, the things you granted are taken from you. What's your take on that, Audrey?
I think it basically means that whatever we have, however little it is, we should learn to appreciate it, because if we don't make use of whatever we have, it may just be taken away from us.
I couldn't agree more. That's all the time we had for you today. See you again next week, same time, same place. I'm your host, Jen Theuri.
And me, Audrey Chibole.
Goodbye.